I have 11:15.
We're ready to go. Go ahead, Candace, you can take it away.
Andrew, do you want to start?
Good to go. We are live, Candace. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the breakout session, How to Deal with an Underperforming Team. I'm Candace Thorson, a managing editor here at GovLoop. If you're coming from the morning keynotes, I'm sure that like me, you found Julian and Frida's perspectives on burnout extremely thought-provoking, and I'm really looking forward to what the rest of the summit has in store, and I'm hopeful that you are too. So for this session, let's be honest, a lot of us have had some lackluster team members in the past, and sadly, we may have some in the present. So what we're going to look at today is how can you make the best of an underperforming team? And our expert will share her strategies for empowering a team to be more successful. I do have some reminders to go over first. So if you're on Twitter, we'd love to know what you learned. Please use the hashtag NextGenGov to share your takeaways. We also have some really great additional resources available for you to download, and that's on the right-hand side of your console, and that includes the slide deck from today, which I'm really looking forward to. We don't want you to have technical problems, but if you do, just go to that Q&A tab, and my colleague Andrew will get your questions answered. And you can also use that Q&A portal to ask our speaker questions, and she loves them, so drop them in whenever. We have an open chat that's available for you, and you can interact with other attendees there, so use that on the top left of your screen. And if you miss some tidbits of information or you want to relive some moments from this presentation, just email, we'll email a link to you tomorrow, and it'll have a link so you can access the entire event. And lastly, we are giving 1 CPE credit for participation in this session, and you have to do 3 things. So stay and participate in the entire thing, take all the polls, and then afterwards fill out the post-event CPE evaluation to obtain your credit. You can find that evaluation form in the resources module that's on the console, or you can go back to the resources center that's in the main environment, and we'll email you directly the CPE once we confirm that you met all the requirements. With all the housekeeping out of the way, I want to introduce our expert. Joining us is Carolyn Mooney. She is the owner and coach of Enough LLC and a former background investigations lead. She has a lot of insights and experiences to share. So without me talking anymore, Carolyn, the floor is yours.
Okay, great. I just want to check. I saw in the chat that someone was having a hard time hearing that the sound was not coming through for them. So if you can hear us, somebody just type in the chat box that you can hear what we're saying? And that would be great, so that we know that it's not just Candace and I having a conversation, though we would love that about underperforming teams. I don't see anything in there that people can hear what we're saying. I can hear you. Okay, good. I was like, oh my gosh, no, they can't hear us. I was just going to have to do some interpretive dance if that was the case. So you guys just saved yourself a show. Yeah. So
technology can be a little challenging sometimes.
Okay, great. All right. Maybe if there's time afterwards, we can still do some interpretive dance on how to deal with underperforming teams.
Okay. You don't want to see me do interpretive dance, I assure you.
No. Okay, so let's get started. So my name is Carolyn, and I'm here to talk to you about underperforming teams. So the topic that we're going to talk about is how to deal with underperforming teams, or as I like to call it, how to actually build performing teams. So instead of looking at the negative, I like to look at the positive. Like instead of, okay, they're underperforming, let's look at how do we actually get them to perform from the get-go. So what we're going to talk about today is identifying the reasons for underperformance. So if you have an underperforming team, there is usually an undercurrent as to why the team is not performing. Then we're going to talk about how do we start the team off on the right foot. Whether you are coming into a leadership role, you are currently in a leadership role, or you're thinking about entering a leadership role, it is important to know how to start off a team so that when you have a team of your own, you're not like, what do I do now, right? And then we're going to discuss the importance of assigning roles and responsibilities. You think that this is pretty standard, but sadly it's not. A lot of people come into a role, they interview for a job, and they show up, they get the job, they show up, and it's like, okay, get started. And it's like, okay, what am I actually supposed to do? Like, I know the job I interviewed for, and I know what, kind of a roundabout of what the job responsibilities are, but really, what am I supposed to be doing specifically in this role? So we're going to talk about that and feedback. I don't know if any of you have attended previous NextGen summits, but I have given a presentation probably 3, maybe 4 times now on how to give feedback. Feedback is something that I am very passionate about, and you'll see that when we get to that session. I'm passionate about all things leadership and making people's lives easier, right? Management is not tough in the sense of it's just about being a good human being and treating people right, but it's how you come through with that's where the technique comes in. And then how do you address performance concerns? You can't get away from this as a supervisor or as a leader. You are always going to have to address some type of performance concern, but I want to take out the discomfort from that, right? I wanted you to focus on, I'll tell you, what you need to focus on, and really just focus on the facts. So that's a little teaser for that. So we'll start off with our first poll question is, what are causes of underperformance in an individual or a team? So based on your experience, what have you seen as a reason for underperformance? Give you some time to answer that. And then Candace will show us the results.
I think all of these are common. Do you think, and I don't mean to preempt anything you might say in your going forward, but do you think that that it's obvious to see, like if you have an underperforming team member, that it's obvious to see why they're underperforming? And if I'm preempting something you're going to say, then please tell me that.
No, that's a great question. No, it's not always easy. And we're going to talk about when we talk about giving feedback, and it is about knowing your employees and knowing what is off for them. So it may not be clear. And that's an error a lot of people make, is they assume why the team or the individual is not performing, and they address that, and that's not really the issue. And they're like, why are they still not performing? And it's like, because that was never the issue. So one thing I'm seeing a lot of is burnout and overwhelm. That is key. And that's a big one, especially coming back from COVID. That is a big issue that we've seen. So what is the poll question? Do we have an answer for the poll?
I am going to push that through now.
Ooh, when leadership is being dishonest. Ooh, okay. It's almost like mine is not feeling valued in the job. I think that's where a lot of burnout comes from. We truly learn on the job.
Interesting results.
Okay, I love your answers. So I'm reading those, and I'm going to incorporate those hopefully into, you'll see it, procrastination. I just did a presentation for NextGen on, or GovLoop for procrastination, why people procrastinate. Yes, procrastination is one. Okay. So why people feel unmotivated is there's a myriad of reasons. And it is your job as a leader to figure out what that is, right? Is it a personal issue, right? Does somebody have something we are human beings. Work is not our only reason for being here. So people have lives outside of here. There could be, Candace and I were talking prior to the call starting about caring for loved ones who may be hurt or injured or ill. That, like when you have something else going on the outside and it's family related, that takes precedence and priority over spreadsheets and TPS reports and pivot tables, right? So it could be there's many reasons why people are unmotivated. So the ones that I want to focus on are lack of direction, feeling undervalued, which you've hit on, not being a right fit for the job or provided the right type of training, or just overall having a bad attitude. I do see some other things too. Leadership not providing the right resources, being bullied or embarrassed by others. Ooh, I could do a whole presentation on that, because that makes me, that's not good, right? Bullying is never acceptable. And it's the easy thing to say, though it is not the easy thing to do. But when somebody is bullying you, it is such a reflection of them, and it's not about you at all. But let's talk about lack of direction. We'll start with that one first, right? There's many reasons, and we'll touch on them throughout the presentation, why people are motivated. But lack of direction, right? How many of you have come to your job and you're just like, okay, what do we do here? okay, well, Candace, you're going to do the spreadsheets, and we have Sarah, and Sarah is going to do this. And oh, by the way, everybody's doing all of this. And it's like, what do we do here? What is it that this office actually does? And how do I play into that? And what is our mission and vision in this office? It's something that I've talked about in other presentations as well, is you as an individual should have your own vision and mission statement, right? That's what guides you. It's your compass that guides you throughout your life, whether it's work decisions, home decisions, whatever. You need to be in a job that is in alignment with those mission and vision and your values. And your team has to be in alignment with your organization's mission and vision and values. And so when there's lack of direction, you get this sense of being unmotivated, because there's a sense of like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. I don't even know what this office is doing here. People feel undervalued, especially with burnout. Burnout is, I'm giving you 110% every single day of the week. I'm showing up. I'm showering for you. If you're lucky, I'll put my makeup on. I'm here. And all I get, the only reward a lot of offices give to hard workers is more work.
Yep.
So it's like that almost makes you step back and say, well, if I am doing a really good job and I'm busting my hump and nobody else is really pulling their weight, and I'm the one who's getting rewarded with more work, it's more like punishment. So I don't feel valued, right?
You get resentful.
You do. You get extremely resentful. Or how about when your supervisor, the only time you see them is when they want something, right? Like, oh, Carolyn, where's that report? Carolyn, did you finish that thing today? Carolyn, did you make those calls? And it's like, are you really? Like, I have a life, like I have a name, you know that, but like I'm a person. Could you just start off with like, good morning? How are you? How was your weekend? Also, a lot of people are put into jobs that they need to have a spot filled and they're not the right fit for the job, or they were never trained to do the job. I've seen this a lot. This happens 100% with leadership. How many times have you been in an organization where Joe gets promoted because Joe is just really good at his job, right? Joe is a really good engineer, so Joe's going to be a really good supervisor of engineers. And then Joe becomes a supervisor and he hates it because Joe just wants to be an engineer. Joe doesn't want to lead people. And therefore he was never provided training, because for a lot of organizations, training is seen as banned. When I say that in a high school, usually the first thing to get cut when there's funding issues is band or theater or things that are seen as extra. And training is often seen as an extra. And it's not. It's needed. Training, and I'd say it's because I love training and I'm in training, but training is where you go to develop your employees, grow your employees, create a culture within an organization, to implement change, to feel the pulse of what people are feeling and thinking in an organization. So it is important that we understand, like, if a person is not motivated in their job, it may not be because they have a bad attitude. It may be because they don't feel like they're a good fit for the job, or that they were just put here because nobody else wanted this job, or you weren't good enough in something else, we're going to stick you here. And it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be here. Or I'm not an engineer. How did I become an engineer? How am I in the engineering group? Right? Like, I'm a human. At some of the offices that I've been in my past, I sit with human resources, and I'm like, I'm not human resources. You do not want to come to me for benefits, issues, and concerns. I know how to train people. You know, when you come to me like, oh, should I get paid for this? Absolutely. But I don't, I don't make those decisions. So I'm just not trained in that. And then also bad attitude. There's nothing you can do for a bad attitude, right? There are some people who are just negative people, but there's also people who may have a bad attitude because life is happening to them, right? Being an adult is hard, and at times it sucks, right? Like, life happens, like your water heater breaks, or your car breaks down, or this or that, your daycare has given up on your child, and you're like, okay, now I have all of these things I have to worry about, and yeah, I'm in a bad mood, right? But I'm still showed up, I'm still doing my job, leave me alone, right? So you have to decide as a supervisor, what is the reason for the bad mood? Is it just life happening, Or it could be something more serious, like alcohol abuse, as Selena had mentioned. It could be, addiction issues. It could be any myriad of things. But your job as a supervisor is to figure that out. And what you want to remove from your team immediately, if you can, and I know a lot of you are in government of some sort, it could take a while to remove someone, but it's important if you have someone who has a bad attitude. It's something that we call, it is, the term is active disengagement. People who are actively disengaged become extremely toxic in a work environment because what they do is they try to bring everyone down with them. Like, Candace, this place sucks, right? Like, how about that time that you asked for paid time off and they didn't give it to you? Or how about the time that you did? And it's like, okay, so people who are actively disengaged are not only bitter and disengaged in their job, but they are trying to get everybody on the same boat with them and try to take the down.
Because it makes them feel better, probably.
Oh,
like
it does.
They have company. They have company in their ticked offness. Yeah. It
makes them feel valued because I see it, you see it, and I'm vindicated in what I'm saying because you're agreeing with me. So it's not just me. And it's like, oh, okay. So let's talk about how we move forward from this. So So the way that we do this is very simply, I'm sure a lot of you have heard about SMART goals. SMART goals can be used in various forms and fashions. So the way that when I manage a team, when I get a new team, or I'm having an underperforming team, or if I just need to hit that reset button, is I have individual conversations with each person that is on my team. And I sit them down. I usually give them their SMART goals ahead of time and say, hey, this is what we're going to be talking about in our meeting. Let's pick a time that's good for both of us and set an hour aside and bring them in and have a conversation. My laptop lid is down, my cell phone is off if I have a cell phone with me, or my ringer on my phone is off. And I'm there dedicating my time to my employee. This is making them feel valued, seen, and heard. Probably something, depending on the team, if you're just getting them, they may not have seen or felt before. So it's little actions like that that make a huge difference. And then I turn it over to them. I turn it over to, I'm sorry if this is, there we go. I turn it over to the employee and say, tell me what your SMART goals are. Meaning not only your goals, but your expectations you have for yourself, right? Be specific with that. I'm going to, let's say we'll use training, right? I'm going to teach 2 classes a quarter, and I'm going to come up with new content each quarter to address the needs of the organization. Okay. How are you, employee? So let's say Candace is my employee, and I say, Candace, okay, great. How are you going to measure your success in teaching those 2 classes each month and creating new content each month? Right? It's not accusatory. It's not asking her to be defensive. It's let's just see tell me how you're going to measure yourself. Okay. And then the part about being actionable, this is key. A lot of times people say, oh, well, I'm just going to have a better attitude. I need actions, right? Like, how are you going to hit these mile markers? What's measurable has to also be actionable. Like, I am going to create content. And the way that I'm going to create content is I'm going to go out and I'm going to do a needs assessment. And I'm going to talk to the teams and find out what it is that they need. And then I'm going to figure out, okay, what are the common themes and address those, right? So it has to be actionable items to be able to reach that specific goal. It has to be realistic, right? If Candace said to me, I'm going to teach 10 classes each quarter, create new content like once a month, this is what I'm going to do. Your job as a supervisor is to call her to the table and say, Candace, do you really feel that is something that you can handle? And kind of wheel her back a little bit and say, let's talk, you know what? Let's start off with just 2 classes a month or 2 classes a quarter and 1 new course a quarter and go from there. And if you feel that that's too slow of a pace, we're going to meet again and we're going to have this discussion and we're going to tweak your expectations and make sure
burnout waiting to happen.
Oh, it is.
Like,
it's absolutely
in your effort to try and stand out, do good, all that kind of stuff, you're going to kill yourself.
Right. And then through these conversations, you're going to start to recognize and learn who your employees are, what motivates them, how they work, what projects they want to do, and what they're really good at. And then you set a timeline on that. Because if you don't set a timeline, Candace says, I'm going to create new content. Okay, sounds great. And then I'm thinking in my mind, it should take you about 3 or 4 months to at least come up with an outline, do your needs assessment. And I come to Candace in September and I was like, so where's the needs assessment? And she's like, haven't done it yet. Is Candace wrong? No, because I never set a timeline for her and she never set one for me. So by allowing what I wanted to help you do is change the discussion and the dynamic between supervisor and employee. Put a lot of onus on the employee. We're all adults here. Whether we like it or not, we're adults, right? Put the decision on them of what they think they can do and hold them to it. Therefore, when time comes back and they're like, well, I couldn't get this done. It's like, it's not an I told you so, but it's the conversation of, well, when we set your goals, you made it clear that this could be attainable. What has happened between now and then that has made this not true, right? Like, let's work on that. Then you need to flip the conversation to yourself and let your individual employees know what your goals are, right? My specific goals are to make this team the #1 training team within our division. And the way that I'm going to measure that is it's sharing and being transparent. I know that was something that one of the listeners had said was about bosses not being transparent or lying. As a supervisor, it's important that you're transparent with what you can be transparent with. Having that conversation, like there's metrics out there. I go to meetings every single month and all of the training departments are compared to one another. And each month I get to go and defend our training department or get the kudos for the training department that we have. So I know we're doing good based on that measurement. My action items is that before I go to that meeting every single month, I'm going to reach out to each of my employees to get the information that I need from them to then be able to take to that meeting. I'm going to do this by the 15th of the month so that everybody has enough time to get me the information I need for the meeting at the end of the month, right? So they're specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and timely. This also helps your employees really take ownership. That's what you're doing. You signed up for this job. We hired you. Take ownership for the work that you're doing. And the final thing that you should do, I should say second to final thing that you should do when talking about SMART goals, actions, and initiatives with your personnel is ask them, what can I do to help you? Tell me what you need from me to make this happen. My job as a supervisor is to remove hurdles. It's to get through all of that internal political stuff that bogs all of us down. That's my job. I will deal with that. Anything that's in your way, if there is technology that you don't have, or there's a system that's broken down, or you're reaching out to a team and they're not responsive, you stop wasting your time. Let me waste my time doing that, and you focus on your next project.
That's a good. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
But that's a good point, because I found that, like, you as a team, you have the same goals. A lot of times you're working on the same project, you're going, even like you actually have the same kinds of projects, but how different team members need different things. So if you say, like, how do you want me to help you? It could be a different answer depending on the person. And as the project is going along, that individual person could give you a different answer depending on what's going on in his or her life. So yeah, you need to have seconds and realize that people are different.
Yeah, and there may be people like Candace, you may say, you know what, I do great with, like when I have these meetings with employees, I have them when I first start out, and then maybe it's once every other week or monthly, just to make sure we're still on track. And then once they start to feel more comfortable, you start to gauge, like maybe I have to meet with Candace every other week just because she really thrives on the social interaction, where Andrew, I only have to meet with once a month, right? So please, if you take anything away, do not manage a team like a team in the sense of managing everybody exactly the same. Everybody has different needs and different ways they want to be communicated with and different ways that they work. And so we're going to get to that with roles and responsibilities, but it is key to understand everybody is different and has to be managed differently. And that's usually, I would have to say, like, that's probably the #1 reason when managers get frustrated or don't do well, is because it's a blanket approach.
And I noticed too that sometimes I mean, like, just because somebody is giving you some friction doesn't mean it has anything to do with you whatsoever or your job. But there are times, especially like, GovLoop, we all work remotely, and I'm sure this is at other places. And when you type something, it's not the same as when you're actually talking to somebody in person. So there can be times where, just depending on the tenor of whatever the conversation is, it's like it's time to have a quick video chat because I just need to be just one-on-one, and it could be totally fine, but you don't want to let something build up if there is a problem to be a problem.
Right.
So
that's the problem with email. You can't retone. And so what we do is we put on our own tone goggles and we read it as like, you know what, I'm having a bad day today. I'm not feeling like I'm doing a really good job. And then Candace is like, hey, where are you on that presentation? I'm thinking, come on, Candace, what the hell? Like, I'm getting it done. Why are you so on me all the time? And it's like, that was not Candace's intention. Her intention was just like, hey, where is it? I'm just checking in, see if you're okay. And I'm taking it because I'm coming with my own baggage. And that's how we read it. So it's important that you get, like, to your point, Candace, of having face-to-face. So when I talk to her, I know her intention and I know her voice. So when the email comes through, I'm thinking, if I feel that way, is that me or Candace that's saying, like, putting that tone on it?
And we use Teams a lot. I have never used so many emojis in my life because the tone of your voice, like, I could say something in person, it would be like no big deal, whoever would understand I was sort of joking, whatever, but it doesn't always come through when you type. So I use all like smiley face emojis when I'm asking for something or the status, but I'm not trying to be a pain, I'm not trying to nag, but maybe it comes through that way. So yeah, you have to have a certain, it kind of like redefines how you deal with people in a remote environment, I think. But I don't mean to keep interrupting you.
Yeah, it's having that constant conversation. No, please do. We're co-presenters here, right? So then the next is talking about roles and responsibilities. So once you've had the individual conversation, it is important to have a team conversation. And the team conversation is where you empower all of your employees to share one by one the conversation they had with you. This, of course, let me just step back for a moment. The conversation you have with your employees regarding their SMART goals and their SMART expectations, you should be following that up with an email to the employee so everything is documented. Based on our conversation, Candace, on 510 about your SMART goals, this is what we've decided we're going to do, right? This is what you told me you're going to do. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Because now this becomes the foundation that I am going to base Candace's performance appraisals on her metrics. Everything is going to be based off of this. Again, it's adjusted bi-weekly, bi-monthly, however we want to do that. But then it's time to get the team together and share what you talked about. And it's talking about, hey, hi, Candace, I'm Carolyn, I'm on your team. I met with my boss and our boss, and this is what we talked about. I am really strong in training and presentation skills. I'm also an instructional designer. And so I need to feel valued, I kind of need to do both. I like juggling both. And so I like doing presentations, specifically security related presentations. And then I also like to create content that's fun. Right? I'm not a bunch of words. I just kind of like to more conversational. And these are the projects that I'm going to be working on for the next like 3 to 4 months. And you know what? I'm really struggling with, I'm not an expert in cyber. So I would love to have any help that anybody on the team could provide regarding cyber. Because I have an idea of a training I want to come up with, and cyber is a portion of it. And it's just not that familiar with. Right? Mm-hmm. So then Candace goes up and she shares with the team, hi, I'm Candace. I like to do instructional design only, which is creating content. I only like to create content. I do not like talking in front of people. And actually, I have a really good friend from the last team that I was on that's actually in cyber right now that I could hook you two up. So that'd be really great. And, maybe I don't want to be an instructor, but I still want to get more comfortable with like my briefing skills. Carolyn, maybe you could help me out with that, right? And by everybody sharing what they are responsible for, it's holding everybody accountable to one another. So it's not just the supervisor who now knows what everyone's responsible for. It is the team as a whole, right? When you tell someone something, like a goal that you have, The reason you tell people is because you want people to hold you accountable. Like, I want to lose 15 pounds. Great. If I didn't really care whether I lost 15 pounds or not, I'd keep that to myself. But the reason I tell 15 pounds is that so when I eat a cupcake, Candace, not in a judging way, just says, how's that diet going? Right?
Ouch.
Let me take that cupcake from you. I will give it a good home, right? So you tell people things because it holds you accountable, because you know the people who are interested in what you're doing are going to ask you questions about it. So you want to be able to show up, right? So the team does that. So when you go around, everyone shares what it is that they do, what their area of specialty is, and you can even add fun questions in there for people of, tell us something that you really like. What do you want to be when you grow up? Or what is one skill you wish you had, right? And now your team is really starting to see their strengths and weaknesses, and the fact that they're asking for help is showing vulnerability, right? Like, I don't know anything about cyber, but maybe somebody can help me. And then as soon as Candace stands up and says, I know somebody, it's like, okay, I got a connection, right? We're good. That means Candace and I now are going to be working on projects together. And then I want to return the favor and figure out how I can help her.
Then it builds trust.
Yeah, it totally builds trust. And then your job as a supervisor is, again, to finish up that conversation and say, now let me tell you all what my roles and responsibilities are. Because this is transparency as well. Because I don't know if any of you have been managed this way, but I have, where a supervisor has had a one-on-one conversation with Candace, and then had a one-on-one conversation with Andrew, and had a one-on-one conversation with me. And their promises were very different to each person. Mm. Where this now holds me to the fire and says, I, as your supervisor, am going to hold myself accountable to X, Y, and Z. This is my role. These are my responsibilities. And I want you to hold me accountable to this. I'm coming out telling you what I am responsible for. And if you feel that I'm not meeting that, and vice versa, if I feel you're not meeting yours, we're going to hold each other accountable. It also helps the team realize how they fit into the larger picture of an organization, right? So if a lot of times training or accounting or finance, they may not figure out, like, I'm just facilities, or I'm just security, or I'm whatever. And right now I'm supporting a facilities team. And this is a feeling a lot of them have. I'm just facilities. I'm just facilities. I'm just like toilets and toilet paper. No, you are not. You are so much more than that, because without you, none of us would be here at work. None of us would have our working computer systems, because we wouldn't have power. You are so much more than that. And or like with cyber, your job is to keep the information safe, so that the people who need that information to make decisions can make decisions because you kept it safe. And that's what our organization does, right? So it's really important to kind of build that up as a foundation of, this is what your roles and responsibilities are, mine, the department, this division, and then the overall organization. Meaning that showing them that they have value. Remember, one of the things that people become unmotivated for is they don't feel valued. So we're building that value and saying, this organization, this department, this division, this team is nothing without you. We need you. Okay.
If you don't mind, if I could, we're getting a lot of questions, and I don't want to get too far in advance with me just talking. So one question, can treating employees differently lead to EEO complaints?
No, you can if it's favoritism. And this is why you ask questions during these discussions of, how would you prefer to be communicated with? Again, when your team is standing in front of one another, sharing their roles, responsibilities, what they like to do, what they don't like to do, that's letting everybody know how they're, like, what projects they would like to take on, right? So but you have to make sure that you're fair and you're constantly checking in. Just because Candace said she likes cyber, I can't give her all of the cyber projects. A, it's unfair to her. B, it's unfair to everybody else for not getting the cyber projects. But it's checking in and saying, hey, how are you? Hey, Carolyn, I know that you said you weren't comfortable with cyber, but I do have some projects coming that have a cyber theme to them. Would you be interested in taking them? We can make you and Candace can work together, so you feel a little bit more confident with it. But yeah, okay. So it's not showing favoritism. It's actually managing people the way that they want and need to be managed, right? If anybody has, significant others or children or even with friends, all of my friends require different attention. I have friends that I've known forever, and I just saw them last weekend, and they don't require a lot of attention. Why? Because the roots are there, right? I've known them since 1986, and we're good, right? We're tight like sisters. And so when I only talk to them like once a quarter, that's okay. But I have another friend that I talk to every single day because that's the relationship we have, and that's the attention she requires, right? Not that I'm babysitting my friend, but like that's the type of relationship. So you do that with your employees, and you're transparent with it, right? Favoritism is an EEO complaint. Managing people the way that they want to be managed and the way that they've told you that they need to be managed, that's not going to get a complaint.
Also, how do you motivate employees who are in the twilight of their careers? Retirement is in sight, and it appears that they are not interested in innovation or team building. That sounds like it'd be a problem. Teaching?
Mm-hmm. Knowledge transfer, right? It's recognizing that this person has a lot of knowledge that they need to share. It boosts up their confidence and ego and thinking like, I do have a lot to share. And it's having them teach the generation that's after them and saying, hey, can you take on some responsibilities of maybe coaching and mentoring some of our employees? Now, if that person is somebody who has a bad attitude and you don't want them to do that, like that's important. Don't just be like, oh, this is the person that's getting ready to retire. I'll just have them do this. Not if they're like, I'm done with this place. I'm out. Don't come to me with your concern. But yeah, utilize transfer of knowledge as a good way to keep them actively engaged. It doesn't make them uncomfortable if they're not like new on innovation and stuff like that, and gives them a sense of value. Again, everything comes down to feeling valued.
Just one more question before I let you get back to your presentation. How do you help a person engage who's been actively disengaging for years? So like a really entrenched, active disengager, I guess.
It's calling to the carpet. And let me jump forward to the spot with this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay. Let me just talk, I'll go here and we'll go back to I think I can go back to those. But it's the performance concern. If a person is actively disengaged, your option, you have to remove them. But you can't remove someone without the proper documentation and discussion. That's why after each conversation you have with someone, you should be documenting it and sending it to them. Not just documenting for your records, but saying per conversation, if there is a need for a performance improvement plan, do that. Engage HR. But there are people who are so actively disengaged, the only option for them is they have to leave. And that's to have that tough conversation of, it seems like you are actively disengaged, right? Like you don't want to be here. Let's talk about that, right? It could be because they're frustrated. And again, always put it back on the employee of, well, then tell me what we can do here to fix this. We value your experience. You've been with the company for a long time. Now, I say that if that's the case. There are some people that are just like a toxin in the work environment. Don't feel you have to save everyone, right? It's, if you've seen behavior change, sure, definitely you want to have a conversation about that. But make sure that if you have a performance concern, everything is documented. You involve human resources. You review the conversations that you previously had about expectations, and then say, like, where have we gone wrong? And if you can confidently say to yourself and to that other person that they have fired themselves, then you have done your job as a supervisor. If you come back and say, there's something, I could have done something else, then maybe you should try that first before you take that next step, right? So that's why it's
fired themselves.
Yeah, let them fire themselves. Okay, so let me just go back to the poll questions because I want everyone to get the
CPE credits.
Yeah. So when do you think the feedback should be given? Can you guys see the poll now? Because I kind of like went through it really quick, but I want you to focus on this.
Sure. Annually, quarterly, monthly, or all the time? We'll just give people a little bit of time.
I swore I would give myself time to give you people a question and answer session. They're really bad. Okay.
No, I've been interrupting you, so that's okay.
Hopefully they've found it. Okay, they can't answer the polls. All the time. Okay.
Okay.
We will admit on our end that
Okay,
maybe
people are answering now. I think the slide didn't push through.
Okay.
We're good now.
And something that I will say for those of you who've maybe seen my presentations before, and if you haven't, thank you for choosing this presentation, is that my information is provided to you, my email information, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have regarding this topic after this presentation is over. So while you're filling out this poll, just letting you know that I make myself available to anybody who's in NextGen for questions that they have. If you want to talk through an issue, pick a time to chat, happy to do that.
I have a question. We've been talking about like individual, one-on-one stuff, but do you think it makes a difference in the type of team you're on, like, or the type of work you do? Is that really relevant? So like, say I'm a writer, would it make a difference as much for content creation as it would for, I don't know, engineers or something, which believe me are very different?
Yes. I think it depends on the work. I have been involved with organizations where everybody is insular, like they're just, like if anybody on the call is like, say, in the Intel community, right? Everything is separated based on job function. So I may not be able to share things with you that other people, but it really, it just depends. But I still think a team is a team. It's still good to know the people you're sitting, like, what are you working on, right? A successful career comes to your network. Who you know, how you show up every day, and all of that. So yes, all the time. You guys answered that correctly. So we'll go quickly over the next slide, which is, this is my theory, like my thought on feedback. It should happen early and often, all the time. Have conversations with people. It's called a coaching culture, right? Walking around, shaking hands, kissing babies, and don't kiss people at work because that's inappropriate. But like shaking hands, getting to meet people. Hey, how are you doing? Talking to people to get to know who they are, not just what they can give you as an employee. Notice changes in behavior and address them immediately. Candace, I know you've been kind of down recently. Do you want to? I just want to let you know my door's open if you want to talk about it. But I just want to let you know I'm concerned, right? Being open to, this is what you're talking about with being unmotivated, is being open to all of the possibilities that could be behind what you're seeing in front of you. What you're seeing in front of you is a symptom. You have to figure out what the cause is. So be open. Don't be like, it's just because they're not paid enough, or just because she's overworked, or just because she's ready to get married, or no. Be open to the possibility of what the issue may be. Work to uncover that issue. Get to the point with feedback. None of this fluffy stuff of, oh, you're a great valued employee. We really value what to give. If this person is actively disengaged in a toxic cancer in your team, do not sugarcoat it. Do not tell them they're a cancer. That's an EEO complaint. But it's having that conversation of, what do you want to do next? Right? What you tell me what you want to do next. Your next steps. Again, the biggest thing I can say, and I hope you take away from this, is put a lot of responsibility on the employee, because it is their responsibility to grow their career. So, and you are there as a supervisor to help coach, lift them up, put them in front of the right people. Your job is not to do their job for them. So, and be honest. Again, be honest with your feedback. Facts, not thoughts. That's a whole nother presentation about feedback. So I see if you can answer this one, just so I want you to get all the credit for it.
Question.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that they get the credit. If this, I don't hate for you to miss credit because I jumped ahead. But if you can, is who's responsible for addressing an employee's performance? And this went to the poor performance slide that we talked about. But any other questions that you may have? And sorry that I gotta talk.
Oh, sure. No, there's one. How would you deal with not neurodivergent staff? For instance, zoning out, not being able to stay on task for a long time, etc.
You are not the person's parent, doctor, mental health provider, or medical provider. You have to tell the employee, how do you best work? I've trained people that have a hard time sitting. If they sit down for too long, they're just going to go to sleep. I said, fine, then stand up. You can walk around. I don't mind if someone's standing in a training class I'm doing, walking back and forth. I'd rather you walk back and forth. I had somebody do jumping jacks in the back of a classroom. If that's what makes you happy, keeps you awake and engaged, I'll take it. So ask the person, how can I, that's in your SMART goals, how can I best serve you as your supervisor? I need you to tell me what you need from me. I'm not just going to give you what I think you need. So I would ask them.
Another question is, what can you do if you show someone how to do a specific task, but they're still not understanding it?
You just beat them. No, you don't. I'm from New Jersey, and I saw a
That's
couple
an
people
HR claim too, right?
Yeah. I'm telling you also what not to do. Do not beat employees. Do not threaten to beat them.
It's bad.
No kissing at work. Hands are not for hitting. Okay. If someone is not getting the material, it may not be a good fit. Again, turn it back on the employee to say, what is it that you feel that you're good at? Like if I'm asking Candace to do not PowerPoint, we'll say Excel spreadsheets. I hate Excel spreadsheets. My husband's a finance guy, and every time he starts talking about spreadsheets, I'm like, what? I can't. So let's talk about spreadsheets. And it's like, I'm not doing good at spreadsheets because I don't like spreadsheets. So no matter what you do for me, Candace, it's never going to be enough because I don't like spreadsheets. And it's like, okay, well, how much of your job is actually spreadsheets, right? Is it 50% of your job? Is it 100% of your job? Start to ask those questions about, why did you select this job, right? Like, what was it about this job that you found appealing? And let's try to get you involved in those things and not necessarily the spreadsheets, but you also cannot show favoritism if spreadsheets you're in accounting and everybody is responsible for spreadsheets. I can't take Candace away from spreadsheets because she doesn't like them, right? So it's trying to find that sweet balance between what is it that they're strong at? What is it that they like to do? And what are the things they have to do that we just can't get around, right? So it's kind of having to balance all of that. It's getting to that, again, having them tell you what they're not good at and why. I'll tell you right now, I will never apply for a job that requires budgets or finance. I did it once and I was like, I can't do this. Not at all. Yes. Okay, there's the poll. Absolutely. Everybody, it's the employee. And we talked about this with performance concerns. I rushed through that because I thought I had till 12 o'clock. I have till 12:15. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I was like, oh, it's 12:15. But yeah, it's having everybody, it's a cycle, right? You think about teams as a cycle. I'm setting the expectations. I'm constantly like reevaluating those expectations. I'm giving feedback. And then when that turns into poor performance, I am then going back to my expectations to reevaluate them, right? So it's going around and around, and it just, okay, so it becomes a cycle. So it's like, if I notice that there's a performance issue, let's go back to the expectations. This is what you said you could do. Why has this changed, right? I don't want to say you're using your employees' words against them, but you are using their words to hold them accountable.
You know what this doesn't directly relate to what you just said, but stuff you say makes me think of other stuff all the time. So it's one of the reasons I love your presentations. But I know that sometimes we have weekly touch bases or one-on-ones and everything every week. And sometimes I've noticed that depending on how the conversation starts off, you can tell if somebody, what kind of frame of mind they're in. And you're not, in my experience, you're not going to have a productive conversation like moving forward if somebody is just completely has blinders on because they're so freaked out about something else. So I found that sometimes just spending 15 minutes talking about absolutely nothing, like just gossiping, water cooler stuff, nothing work related whatsoever. And we wind up spending just say maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes on work is actually a lot more productive because it relaxes people. And it's just because otherwise you're just, the person's head and mind is somewhere else and you might as well not be talking. So I don't know if that works for everybody, but I found sometimes you just have to pick up on a human level.
Absolutely. And I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. LaShayland mentions, like, is it the supervisor's responsibility to help people get through the barriers that they're putting up? It depends on what those barriers are. If those barriers are self-induced, you can experience can help you sometimes navigate that. But if it's corporate, organization, or agency related barriers, absolutely, that's my job. As a human being, I'm here to help you as a supervisor, coach, mentor. I'm here to help you work through those barriers, but it's also providing your employees with the applicable resources that are available. If you know that someone is struggling mentally and emotionally with mental and emotional health, most organizations, if not all at this point, have an employee assistance program that you can reference them to. If there is training that is standing in their way, recommend that they take training. If you feel that they're overworked and overburdened and they're just overwhelmed with a lot of things, suggest alternate work schedules, right? Like, if it's such a rush every day, like I never understood this of like, we need you here during core hours. That's a weird concept to me. But if there are core hours to your office, based on depending on what it is that you do, you may not be able to get around that. But as a supervisor, if you have the flexibility, and I see that Candace is struggling every morning, like she comes in on the struggle bus every morning, like bags hanging off her because she had to drop her children off at daycare. She had to do this. Why don't you come in later? Right? Like, if it's such a struggle to, like, I don't want you to feel rushed, because by the time an employee has all the stuff, personal things they have to do in the morning to show up to work, they've already worked what they feel is their full-time job, and now they're coming to work as their part-time job, and then going back to their full-time job as being a parent or being a spouse or a caregiver. And so it's have some grace and patience with people, knowing that they're human beings and we have issues that come up, and address those, right? And give people the space and time and resources to take down their own barriers if they exist, if there's something that you yourself cannot control.
There's also some conversation in the chat about humor and about how, humor is really important and can loosen things up. I know I personally do that, but that it also has side effects, that it can backfire. So do you have any thoughts on that, or anything, or any personal experiences of, because you're smiling, I get the sense that
as you can tell, I'm 100% professional in my everyday. But I'm very serious about what it is that I do, which is training. And I do training within the government, and I do training in these presentations here. But I believe in having fun. And I teach all types of things. My background, as I mentioned, is in investigations and adjudications and advanced elicitation and interrogation. And this is not the face that you think of when you think of those types of things. And so it's being serious in the job, but also knowing how to have a good time and knowing what is appropriate. Sweet Mary, please know what is appropriate, because just hands down, gender, race, religion, body consistency, type, don't even touch it. So there's a movie called Ronin, which is, dating myself, back in the 90s. It came out with Robert De Niro, and there's a line in that my husband, it's one of his favorite lines, and I have brought it out in several trainings that I have, and this will help you, I promise. The line is, when there is doubt, there is no doubt. So if there is ever doubt in your head of whether I should say something or not, the answer is always no. Don't say it, right? Don't even just be like, that's a good one. Know your audience and be like, I'm not gonna. Would you say that with HR in the room? Right?
That's a good question.
And I don't recommend, even with gossip or like that idle chit chat that you may have, do not say, this is just a life lesson, don't say anything to anyone that you wouldn't say to that person's face, or that you wouldn't want written down in their performance appraisal for them to see, because it's not fair and it's not right. And I know a couple of the, thank you, Doris, for recognizing the movie. Appreciate that. Doris gets bonus points. We'll see if we can get extra CEP, like the credit points. But the earlier in the chat, people were talking about being bullied. And that's kind of how it starts. Like, a lot of times people try to test the boundaries of what they can say in joke format, right? Like, you know how those people are, and it's like, and they're testing the waters with what is appearing to be humor, and it is not at all. And so on that side, report that information immediately. Or if you feel comfortable, say, I don't find that funny. I find that offensive, and please don't talk like that, right? So sometimes people don't know that they're being, I know that sounds crazy, but sometimes people don't know that they're being offensive. So it's important as a team, if you what Candace mentioned, it's building that trust. I would like if I said something that offended someone, for them to tell me, because I would never have the intention of trying to hurt somebody's feelings. So I would like to know. So I know it kind of went a whole circle, but.
Sure. And I just want to say, I noticed in the chat that some people had trouble with the last poll question. So if you just either email nextgen@govloop.com and tell your problem, or you can just go directly to the help desk in the resource center here. There's an option for the help desk, and say what your problem is. We'll make sure that you get credit for it so that you can get the CPE credit. So again, it's nextgen@govloop.com, or you can go to the help desk in the main console.
And someone mentioned humor doesn't always work because what's funny for one is not funny for another. And that's absolutely true. I have the sense of humor as a 14-year-old boy. So I know my humor is not appropriate in most places. So I keep that to myself, right? I can't help what goes in my mind, but it doesn't come out of my mouth. So it is, it's really important just to know your audience and realize that you are at work, but also work can be fun. You don't have to take everything so seriously, right? I mean, we're all in the government. I think in my mind, everybody that is working for government, whether that is state, local, or federal, you are all working to make this country a better country and to make our nation safe. That is very serious work. And it's important that you do your job really well, but it's also important that you have fun along the way so you don't get burned out.
Yeah. A lot of people are asking for your email address.
Oh, I can put that in the chat. I think you guys can see me in the chat.
Yeah, so if people could let us know if they see the chat. There it is. Carolyn at successwithcarolynmooney.com.
Yes, that's me.
That's great.
So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Like I said, I'd be happy to talk to anybody offline if they want to have a conversation about, I have this one employee, or I'm new to a team. What do you suggest? I'm always happy to help. And it is, I think, on the last slide. Let me check. Let me see. Questions. And there I am.
Oh, there. Okay. Yeah. This presentation is going to be available to watch as a recording. We're going to send you an email tomorrow, a link to all the presentations, so you'll be able to access this one too.
Yeah. So this is me. That's my phone number. I really respond to text. So if you want to have a conversation, text me first. Tell me your name, and then you saw me on NextGen, because I'll be like, who is this? But yeah, we have another minute and a half left. I'm happy to answer any questions. But I would just like to say my main takeaways are: start early with setting expectations and foundation of expectations for your staff, and grow from there. And constantly, like anything, water it, nurture it, and maintain it, and pay attention when it starts to go off course. Address issues early, because problems never get better with time. That's another good nugget. Problems never get better with time. Address it immediately. And if you have that coaching culture of always talking to people and going out there and, don't sit in your office or your cube, get out there and talk to people, learn about who they are. People will tell you a lot about themselves when you're just there, to your point, Candace, just shooting the breeze. And this is a mistake I see supervisors make a lot. They don't share anything about themselves. They're always asking questions, but they don't share about themselves. And it's really important that you show them that you trust them with, you know what, I'm really tired today. I was really rough. I was XYZ, I slept on my neck wrong, because that's what happens, I guess, when you're in my age, that you sleep wrong. And now,
everybody is human.
Yeah, I'm numb from the neck down. It's no big deal, right? It's just a flesh wound. So we'll get through it. But it's having that vulnerability with them, and they'll have that vulnerability with you. And trust is not something that is obtained and just left. It has to be constantly maintained and nurtured. So don't think like, they trust me, I'm good, going back to my office. You have to constantly foster that relationship.
I hate looking at the clock and during your presentations because unfortunately, I think we're actually over time. But I want to thank you so much for sharing everything you did today and the conversation today. I also want to thank the NextGen Partner Alliance for helping us put on the NextGen Summit. And just like I said about the CPE evaluation form, make sure you fill out the form to get your credit and go send an email or go to the help desk if you had trouble accessing one of those polls. We have our keynote lunches at 12:30 Eastern. And to access that, you can go through the conference hall main environment. And there are going to be 3 presentations. One is own your own journey. No one is going to plan your career for you, which is really true. Inclusion in action, and nothing stays the same. How to embrace, not fight change. So I just want to thank you so much for joining us. I really want to thank you, Carolyn, as always. And I hope you all have a really great day. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everybody.